The classroom buzzes with a mix of excitement and apprehension as students shuffle in, their eyes wide with the anticipation of another day in the world of the Universal Education Dividend. This morning, I stand at the front, ready to dive into a lesson that promises to ignite their imaginations. All right, everyone, today we're going to explore how fiction shapes our understanding of education and the world around us. Let's think about stories we know. Who can give me an example where a character faced a big challenge? And what did they learn from it? In The Hunger Games, Katniss faces all these challenges and learns about survival and sacrifice. Exactly. Fiction allows us to explore complex themes without directly experiencing them ourselves. It acts as a safe space to learn. But how does that relate to education? Can stories really change how we learn? Great question. Fiction helps us imagine futures that are different from our own. The Universal Education Dividend is itself a product of storytelling, an attempt to envision what education could look like if we were unbound by today's limitations. What about those stories? How do they help us? They present scenarios where we can challenge existing norms. For instance, think about how Katniss not only survives but also inspires rebellion against an oppressive system. Fiction can highlight injustices in education and spark conversations about solutions. Like how our learning should be personalized. If every student gets funds for their education like the UED suggests, it could change everything. Exactly. And what about accountability? If funds are used for approved educational activities only, that would prevent misuse, just like how certain characters in stories face consequences for their actions. Right. Stories illustrate accountability through narrative consequences. What if someone doesn't have access to technology? Like when I visited my grandma's village last summer, there was no Wi-Fi. That's an important point. Many narratives address inequalities like that. In fact, some authors depict futures where technology is universally accessible or entirely absent, a reminder of how crucial these elements are in real life. What if there was a story where kids created their own tech solutions? They could team up and find ways around those obstacles. Yes! That's just it. Fiction gives them power over potential futures. They can design alternatives instead of merely accepting limitations imposed by society today. Their stories push us toward action. Exactly! Characters tackling real-world problems reflect possibilities that extend far beyond themselves. Their lives spark hope amidst uncertainty. All right, everyone. Remember to jot down your ideas for our next project. Think about a story that illustrates how education could transform lives in the future. You'll present these next week. Do you think stories like this really make a difference? They can. Fiction inspires change by challenging our perspectives and sparking imagination, but it takes action to bring those stories to life. Are you coming? What if we wrote our own story? Like one that showcases a world where UED works perfectly? Yeah, I want to think more about how we can change things. Yeah, we could create characters who tackle real-world issues, like technology access or quality education. I can already see it, a group of friends in a small town finding innovative ways to connect with others and learn from each other. Did you guys hear about the science fair? No, what's happening? It's going to be epic. There's a prize for best project this year, a scholarship for any school you want. I was thinking we could do something that connects science with education. Like demonstrating how different educational models work? Maybe we could even use technology in our presentation. Yes, and we could tie it into our story. Show how UED helps kids from all backgrounds access learning opportunities. I can make a video or animation, and I'll write out a script for it, maybe have different characters representing various educational paths. Think about how individuals like Rosa Parks or Malala Yousafzai used their voices for change. Can stories be a form of activism too? Absolutely. Stories can rally people behind causes and ignite movements for change. What if we start by showing how education has changed over time? We could show clips or images of classrooms from different eras, like those old black and white photos of kids sitting at desks in neat rows. Yeah! And then we can jump to our imagined future, where education is personalized and accessible to everyone. We can highlight how the UED makes that possible. Exactly. We could even create a timeline that shows key moments in education leading up to 2121. Hey, look at this. There's a study here that shows how funding disparities affect learning outcomes. It connects perfectly with what we want to say about the UED. That's awesome! We need statistics like this to back up our arguments, and it makes our message more powerful if we can show how much change is needed right now. Do you guys think people will really care about this? I mean, it sounds great in theory, but will anyone actually listen? Of course they will. Change happens when people understand what's at stake. Our job is to make them see it through our story. We just have to make it relatable. If we show characters who represent real students facing these issues, like kids who don't have access to technology or who are falling behind, we'll grab attention. A girl named Lila from a rural area fighting against limited resources. A boy named Sam grappling with learning disabilities yet thriving when given access through the UED. Let's meet earlier tomorrow. Yeah, the more time we have before Friday, the better. I can't wait. Good morning, everyone. Today, we're diving into the impact of education on societal change. But first, I want to hear your thoughts on your project. We've been developing our project on how the UED can reshape education by making it accessible to all children. That's fantastic. Can you share some details about your characters? We have Lila, who lives in a rural area where access to technology is limited. She represents many kids who struggle to get quality resources. And then there's Sam. He deals with learning disabilities but finds success through personalized education options provided by UED. You're tapping into real issues that need addressing. This kind of storytelling not only educates, but can inspire change. What if we included interviews or testimonials? We could add depth to our project by incorporating real stories from students facing these challenges today. That's brilliant! We could even film them, capture their emotions as they share their experiences. Yeah, it would make everything more relatable. What do you think is most important when talking about educational equity? Maybe we should ask them how access, or lack thereof, has impacted their learning experience. Like what resources would have made a difference for them. And we could also ask what support systems helped them overcome those barriers. That would show how vital community resources are. I'll call some local schools tonight. Great idea. All right, everyone. Today is your last chance to polish your projects before presenting tomorrow. I want you to focus on clarity and impact. Make sure your message shines through. What if our characters don't connect with people? What if they think it's just fiction? Every story has roots in reality. Your job is to bridge that gap. to show how fictional narratives can mirror real-life challenges and inspire action. So, Eli says, let's make sure we highlight Lila's story first. Then Maya chimes in, I think we should start with Sam's part about how technology helped him succeed. She adds, it'll set up Lila's struggle really well. Noah suggests, what if we create visuals for each character's story? Like illustrations or graphics that highlight their key moments. That way, it reinforces what we're saying. Maya responds enthusiastically, yes, we could use screenshots or infographics, anything that drives home their experiences. Miss Henderson says, okay, let's wrap up. I want each group to do a quick run-through of your presentation so far. First up, we have Eli, Maya, and Noah. Good morning, everyone. Today we're sharing a story about how education can change lives through the Universal Education Dividend. We've created two characters, Lila and Sam, who represent real struggles that many students face today. Lila lives in a rural area where she lacks access to reliable internet and educational resources. We wanted to show how these barriers limit her potential. But with UED funding supporting technology access for all children, Lila can connect with peers and educators around the world. And then there's Sam. He faces challenges with learning disabilities, but thrives when provided with personalized educational options. We wanted to show how these barriers limit her potential. By sharing Lila and Sam's experiences, we hope to inspire change in how we view education and its accessibility. Fantastic job, you three! You really brought Lila and Sam's stories to life. Who wants to share their thoughts? That's exactly what we wanted to highlight. Education should be available for everyone. And Sam's story was inspiring. It made me realize how important it is to support students with different needs. Hey, what if we gathered testimonials from students who face these issues for real? We could make a short documentary. That would be amazing. We could reach out to schools or community centers, or even create a website. We could share our characters' stories alongside real ones. All right, everyone, I'm proud of all of you today. But remember, presenting is just one step in advocacy. We can use these narratives to advocate for change in education systems, not just in our school but